Hi, friends. My name is Rosa,
And my name is Deanna, best friends and co host for The Last Brain Cell.
a safe place for all things girl talk, mental health, wellness, and everything in between.
This is a place where we bar no judgment as we have real and deep conversations about life in our late 20s. Let's get into today's episode.
Hi, Deanna.
Hello, Rosa.
How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
I think today we're going to be talking a little bit about body positivity.
Okay.
I think, especially between you and I think our bodies, we have noticed,
Mm.
have changed a lot
Over
in our
the
20s.
years. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. I was an athlete growing up. I played soccer, I ran track, I was lifting. I even took a lifting class in high school.
They have
So,
those?
yeah, well, at least my high school did. It was the first class of the day, first off. So then I
Now
had
that I
to
think about it, I think my school also had one. I just did not
probably weren't
care.
interested in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, going from being the athlete, being fit all the time. I could eat whatever I wanted and not have to worry about gaining weight, and then getting older, definitely have seen some changes.
Yeah.
And, we talked about this not too long ago, but as women, we actually go through like a second puberty almost, where I feel like it's more along the lines of like our body is transitioning into womanhood and being able to bear children. You know what I mean? Where like you start gaining weight again. I started having acne again. You know what I mean? That I didn't even have prior to that. And I think it's a big thing to try to love yourself through that.
Yeah, especially when you compare yourself to people who maybe don't go through
Hmm.
such dramatic changes as maybe you or I have, or, a lot of other people
Hmm.
have. So, you're probably wondering, well, why is this girl still skinny and she can still fit into her clothes from high school?
Hmm.
But here I am, I have to like buy a whole new wardrobe because I've gained 20, 30 plus pounds.
And I think like your lifestyle also is a big thing. Like,
Yeah, obviously.
I'm not playing soccer anymore. I'm not running track anymore. I'm still lifting, but not as much as I was. And I think especially the athlete part is hard to adjust as you get older,
Mm-hmm.
because growing up like we had soccer games and track meets and like there was a goal and some sort of reason why you were doing things. And I think that's why I got into powerlifting, is I had a goal again, and now like it's hard to transition as an adult, like from being like an athlete growing up, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I probably wasn't as much of an athlete as you were, but I was a swimmer.
Yeah.
That's all cardio
God,
right
I could
there.
not.
I was on the swim team from like middle school and a little bit of high school.
Hmm.
But that was like the majority of my athleticism.
Yeah.
I think I tried cross country for like one season and I was like, oh
I
my God,
cannot
this is
imagine you
not it.
running.
Oh, it sucked. It was awful. I would never do that again. I'm looking at all these cross country runners. I'm like,
Why did I
why
do
would you do
that?
that to yourself?
It
That
was
is
like,
like pure pain and torture right there.
oh my God.
But yeah, like as a swimmer, and I was very muscular,
Hmm.
but also lean. Like in high school, I wore maybe like a size 2.
I remember when I wore a double
I wore
zero.
double zeros at one point, but that was like middle school, like
Mm.
scrawny little thing.
Yeah.
But I think I was like at a solid size 2 for most of like high
High
school
school.
into my early 20s.
Hmm.
And then I started gaining weight and I was really like depressed about it.
Hmm.
It made me really sad. It made me, you know, question every little bit about my being, and I was really harsh on myself and I would critique every little part of my body.
I think a big thing about body positivity too is relationships. Like, I don't think you should gauge how you feel about yourself based off of someone else's opinion. However, being with somebody that, either way, like they comment on your weight a lot or like put you down about it, like it makes you feel some sort of way. Or like even the opposite. They still love you. They still show you that you are beautiful and that, you know, looks don't matter or whatever. Like that can also affect you,
Mhm.
and even saying nothing, I think, says a lot,
That speaks volumes when you don't say anything at all either.
especially if like you're fishing for reassurance and they're not giving it to you.
Mhm. I
You know what I
agree.
mean? Um, and social media doesn't
Oof.
help either.
Social media is really hard when it comes to trying to stay positive about your body image.
Hmm.
And body dysmorphia is a really real thing, and it really sucks.
Yeah, I know. Like, I look back at old pictures of myself and I'm like, I thought I was fat in these
Yeah.
pictures.
Oh my gosh. I I am blown by like
Mm-hmm.
how hard I was on myself then. I used to be like a little twig. And
Mm-hmm.
I still used to think that I needed to lose weight and I needed to get rid of, little pooches and
Pockets.
little pockets of, things I just didn't like because there's such a set standard on what is beautiful.
I love those posts that are like, social media versus reality.
It makes me feel
And
so much better knowing that, like, okay, well, she's got the little
she's got
fold
a
there
pudge. Yeah.
too. Yeah.
And I think, like, as far as social media is concerned, you can fake things tremendously and you can like base it off of angles. You know what I mean? If you change your angle and the way you're standing, it makes you look skinnier or fatter or whatever. You know what I
hmm
mean? And
Have you ever been humbled by the times you open your phone and your camera's like right underneath your chin and you're like, oh my gosh.
all the time, especially if I like answer a FaceTime and I'm like, oh, whoa, that's really close to my face. Or one of my one of my other friends, she has two kids, and he loves taking screenshots of me while on FaceTime. You know how you have that little like option to do
I
screenshots?
do it with your cat all the time.
Oh, I know. But Bree will like send me the screenshots randomly, not even after we talk. And I'm like, "Oh my god, Cairo, please stop." That is not a flattering angle. And he just giggles. He's 2.
He
Like,
doesn't
how do you
know.
know?
He's just pushing buttons.
I know. But I think body positivity is, I think it's talked about more than it used to be.
I think people get a really weird mixed idea about body positivity and what it is. Because I know some people think that body positivity is encouraging obesity,
Right.
and it's not. It doesn't have anything to be health related.
Mhm.
It's all about learning how to love yourself in your own skin, no matter what size you are.
Right. I definitely think there is a fine line because of health. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you should be to the point where you're just so unhealthy, but on the same hand, you've got, people that are 300 pounds that, are the healthiest they've ever been. And then you've got someone that's 100 pounds that has all of these health issues.
hmm
So I think there is some sort of correlation with weight and health, but also not really. You know what I mean? Because, I see people like on TikTok or Instagram or whatever that they have gained weight, but they say that this is the best that they have ever felt in their life because they're not concerned about tracking calories and starving themselves. You know what I mean? Um, so I think people think so heavily on weight when it's really, it doesn't matter. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like that's not what this concept is about.
Right.
It's just all about learning to love yourself in whatever shape or form you are.
Right. And I don't know why people would not
And
want people to do that.
encourage that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because there are people who are just like, oh, well, this is just encouraging, you know, all these health concerns and
obesity, and
obesity when
it's just
that's not what
not
this is about.
right. And I know
Like,
that
you're getting
it
the wrong message here.
right. And I think too, people progress is not linear, and people think that, oh, I love myself, so now I'm always going to love myself.
Did you say linear?
How do you say it?
Linear.
Linear?
Huh?
Linear? Lin- How say it again?
Linear.
Linear. Linear?
Like linear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like whatever, you knew what I meant.
Yeah.
But, they think that, these people that are on social media that do love themselves and preach that they love themselves, that they don't also have hard days.
Right.
Like just because you tell everybody that you love yourself and love your body, love the way you look, that you always feel that way. Everybody has doubts, everybody has moments where they feel like they could be better,
Hmm.
and I think people kind of forget that it's okay to go through that also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even athletes, even people that you idolize, they go through times too, and I don't think that's talked about enough either.
Hmm.
Like I was going to say Simone Biles, but that's more like mental health issues with her, but um it's like people forget that other people are human.
Yeah. I mean, it's only human to have, your ups and downs and
Hmm.
feel good one day and then feel absolute trash the next day. You know?
Or mostly feel like trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it has gotten a lot better though. I mean, I don't think we're 100% there. I also don't think we'll ever be 100% there because we'll always have those demons. Um, but I think compared to what it used to be, it has gotten better.
Are you talking about in terms of like you or like in terms just like in
Just in
general,
general,
like
I
out
think.
on social media and the acceptance
Right. I
of
think,
different
yeah.
sizes? Yeah.
Yeah, because it is talked about more. And I feel like, not to be feminist, but women have more of a voice now than they used to, back,
For sure. I know
in
some
the
people feel a lot of ways about that, but
hmm But, back in like 40s, 50s, whatever, you had to be a certain size. You had to cook and clean and take care of your children and
yeah, to
whatever
dress a
else.
certain way.
Right.
Yeah.
And now women are like, fuck that.
I'm gonna do whatever I want. I'm gonna wear whatever I want, and you're gonna eat what I cook you.
Exactly. Or not even
Or
cook at all. You
yeah,
cook.
you cook for me, bitch.
um, so I think that we are definitely on the up and up,
Yeah,
on that side, but people still struggle,
yeah. I mean, I think ultimately it's also body positivity for men as well. I
Yes.
think men also go through it as well. Like,
Mhm.
I know men, especially throughout the pandemic, they're
Mhm.
staying at home, or men after college, they're working very sedentary jobs. They work in an office, they sit for 8 hours a day. And after that, you're just so burnt out and you don't want to work out.
It's like
It's
Ben,
hard to cook healthy meals.
right? When me and Ben first started dating, they always say that gain weight whenever you get into like a happy relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
And that happened, both of us. And, he started gaining a little bit of weight and he was noticing it and not feeling great about himself. And, you know, unlike everybody else in the world, Ben like went even harder in the gym and definitely like he feels a lot better about himself. But like you said, even men go through that. And but I think men definitely deserve the body positivity as
Yeah, I
well.
think they need a little bit more credit in that department too,
Yeah.
because I feel like that's also not very talked about. I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of things with men are not as talked about.
Cuz like dad bods,
I
come
love it.
love
I
it.
love a dad bod.
Like you don't, men feel like they have to be over 6 foot tall with washboard
I think
abs.
that was our fault. as women.
Yeah.
We really set that standard.
But like, I'm 5'2". I don't want no 6-foot man. I'm gonna get a crick in my neck
I
trying to kiss
dated a
the
guy
man.
who was like 6'1", I think. And I'm like barely hovering 5 feet.
On
Like
a
I
good
had to
day.
ask the doctor or the nurse, I was like, can we round up?
But like, and I think too, like, as you get older, your taste changes too. So now, like, I like a little bit of the salt and pepper and, the dad bod and, a little bit of a seasoned man.
Yeah.
Um, but men still think, oh, I need to have, the six pack
Be a
and
certain height and look a
mm-hmm.
certain way. And I think men are also pretty hard on themselves
Oh yeah,
on
and it's
how
definitely
they
not talked
look.
about as
And it's not
much.
talked about.
No.
No.
Just love yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody in the
Yeah.
world.
And like size inclusivity. Is that even a word?
It is now.
I guess it is now. Like, I think it's only been in recent times that like plus size clothing has become more
Grown.
available.
Yeah.
Because I know people who are plus size, they are very limited to where they can shop.
Yes. I definitely do see it a lot more often. I will say too, like pant sizes are
Oh,
not
don't even
universal.
get me started on that. Men's sizes, so like cut and dry,
Yeah.
like waist and seam. Simple.
So simple.
And meanwhile, we have, what is it? We have odd numbers and even number sizes
At different places.
at different places. And you can wear a size 2 at one store and be a size 8 at another.
And you're the same person.
And I'm the same size as I was yesterday.
I don't understand it. Why does everything women have to be more complicated?
It's so complicated. And like, you might feel really great that you wear a size 2, but then you realize when you go shopping, you're a size 6 or 8 at another store, and you're like, that just
That
doesn't sit
sucks.
right.
I'm not going to shop
But,
there.
and I think it took me specifically a very long time to finally grasp my clothes need to fit me. I don't need to fit my clothes.
The size does not matter, and even I think wearing something smaller than you should actually makes you look worse than if you just wore your size.
I did try very hard to like squeeze into like my old little
Oh
like
yeah.
size 2, size 4 jeans, and I had like the muffin top and I was suffocating. It was
Couldn't breathe.
awful. I was like, I can't sit. I can't bend over. It was awful.
But I fit.
I was like, but it buttons. And so at that point, that's all that mattered to me.
Yeah.
But then I think back at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look so much better in a size 8.
You
This
feel
is more
better.
flattering in a size 8. And it took me a very, very long time to just sort of forget about the number scale, forget about the number on the scale. I don't have a scale at home. The only time I see my weight is when I go to the doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm like,
Do we have
have
to?
to?
I'll get that sometime. I've even stopped weighing the adults because, I mean, they're at urgent care. It's not like I'm a primary care. So it's like the only reason I weigh people is kids because of medication purposes.
And they only use it for a BMI scale, don't they?
Yeah. Well, for like kids or whatever, it based off of their height and weight is how much you can give
Like
them.
dosing.
Yes, for
dosing. But
It's
like for adults.
right. It's just BMI, and we don't really care about BMI.
Yeah, and we've already debunked that whole thing.
I think BMI is a load of shit.
Yeah.
There's
like my BMI says that I'm like borderline obese.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And then you've got like those older doctors that bring it up. At the VA, they suggested a weight loss program for me. So first off, no thank you.
It's just because they see the numbers.
Right, I understand that, but like, I mean, yeah, I could, lose a couple pounds, but like, I'm not unhealthy. I'm not massive where like I can barely walk. You know what I mean? Like,
Doesn't affect your daily life, like
no, just because I got a
a
little
little
bit of
pooch, yeah.
insulation, like,
Cushion, little.
right? Don't be suggesting me a weight loss program.
That
Thank you
is
though.
weird. I feel like the only person who should be suggesting a weight loss program is the patient themselves.
Right. Or if your weight is affecting your health,
Yes.
then the conversation can be had. But that's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
I'm here for a completely different reason,
Hmm.
and that conversation just sucks to
Right.
have, especially when that wasn't what you were.
Originally there for?
Yeah.
I was there for
Mm,
like headaches or something. Like, I'm not having headaches because I'm fat.
no. It's because you're anxious and stressed.
And stressed, right, exactly. Oh, per usual, I guess.
Yeah. Um, how do you feel that you have, like, adjusted into your late 20s with the changes that you have seen?
I think I am better than I used to be. Um, since we've been friends, I mean, you even know like the kind of ups and downs I've had in that area. Um, there was definitely a time where I never wore anything tight. I always wore like baggy things and, just I was struggling really bad with the weight gain, and it was hard to love myself. And not only was I going through that, I was also going through the mental health changes that we've previously talked about. So, like, it was kind of all around, nothing was good. At least it felt like it. And in my relationship, too, I was looking for him to,
Like, provide that reassurance?
right, which is not fair. You know what I mean? And also, we never had a conversation either. So, like, I was like assuming he knew what I was thinking, which is insane. um, but once we had the conversation about it and it was being talked about and it was a real thing, then he understood my expectations and knew what I was going through, and it was a gradual thing, cuz he also he's not a very verbal person, I'm always like, "Oh, you look pretty today," or like some stranger I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love your eyelashes."
That's just a girl versus boy
It
thing.
is. It is. But, I had that unrealistic expectation that he was supposed to do the same things that I did or was doing. So once we talked about it, it made things easier. And I also realized that I can't base my love of myself off of someone else's love for me.
Mhm.
You know, um, I have to be able to love myself for someone else to love me the way that I feel like I should be loved.
Right. Right. You can't have like 100% reliance on
Hmm.
someone else to love you fully for who you are if you can't love
Right.
yourself.
And, God forbid we break
And what
up.
does that say about your own self worth? You
Right.
know?
And if he, loved me unconditionally and like for my body or whatever, and that's what I based my love of myself off of, and we broke up, then what do I have? I'm back to square one.
Yep.
I think people rely so heavily on their partners, which I think it's okay to lean on your partner. Obviously, that's what they're there for or what they
Right.
should
And
be
that's
there
what the
for.
communication there is for. Like, it makes me feel great when you say X, Y, and Z,
Hmm.
you know? Just that little boost, you
Yes,
know?
absolutely, absolutely. But you definitely should be able to love yourself without relying on other people's
It's
love.
very hard, but
Yeah. What about you? I mean, how do you feel like your transition was?
I feel like things started to go downhill when I was
Yes.
like 24.
Okay.
I feel like all the way up, even to my mid 20s, honestly, like to the point I started dating Nick.
Hmm.
I was very consistent with my weight. I was very consistent in a very singular routine. Um, I didn't really think too much about body positivity
Mm-hmm.
or how my body's changed because it didn't.
Right.
It was a very, very, very gradual change from like middle school, high school, you know, adulthood, like
Mm-hmm.
going into like your early 20s. And then I just sort of felt like I fell off a cliff at like 24,
Well, what year was that also?
4 years ago. So that was
It was right before the pandemic,
right. Yeah.
right?
And it was pandemic time. Um, it was a stressful time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with the grief in the hospital and the stress of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Also entering a fresh relationship at that,
And not being able to go anywhere but
not being
home
able
and
to go
work.
anywhere. And I think that triggered like a whole mental health downfall for
Mm-hmm.
me. You know, I was at the doctor's office and I got started on Lexapro. I started gaining weight, and that's a side
Oh,
effect
medication.
of the
Mm-hmm.
medications. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm taking these antidepressants because I like can't with myself." And now I'm getting fat.
Right, which doesn't help.
And I'm like, "Cool, this is just literally pushing me towards the edge here. Like
Yeah.
this is awesome."
It's like you have to choose between do I want to be happy or do I
Right.
want to be skinny? Like, pick one.
It was terrible, but you know, I kept with it, and um then came the time when I had to pretty much get a whole new wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
That was very difficult. I was purging my closet. I was throwing away or donating all of my size 2, size 4 pants, putting all of my extra small clothes into little bags, and I was donating them because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't think I'm ever going to fit back into these. But in the back of my head, I knew that I don't need to fit back into these
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that my health was more important. And, you know, gaining a couple pounds, I think I gained 20 pounds over the course of like 3, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it didn't affect my health.
Right.
You know, all my blood work comes back healthy. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it took me a really, really long time to recognize that that number on the scale, the number on the back of your jeans, it doesn't really matter.
Well, and I think like reality sets in when you have to get rid of those clothes.
Yeah, because I'm holding on to them. I'm like, okay, one day I'm going to
I'll
fit
fit
back
back
into
into
them.
them. Yeah.
I'm going to lose the weight, and I can wear these
Mm-hmm.
again. But, you know, once they're gone, they're gone.
Honestly, like when I go through my closet and say like I can't fit into these anymore, I feel better once they're gone.
Yeah, once they're gone, because it's out of sight, out of mind. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to think about, oh, I was this size once, or
Right.
oh, I'm never going to be able to wear these again, or oh, when will I be able to fit back into these again? But once it's gone, like
I think
it's
something
gone.
really hard too for me is looking back at old pictures of myself,
Mm.
which I really fall into more often than I'd like to admit, you know? And it's even like I don't necessarily go looking for old pictures, but looking for like a certain picture to show somebody and then you kind of like go down a rabbit
I
hole.
remember that day at
Yeah.
work. You're like, look at how skinny I was here. You're skipping through.
Look at my
Look at
hair
this.
here.
Wasn't this outfit so pretty?
um and I feel like for me personally, once I go down
Mm.
that rabbit hole, it's hard to get out of.
Yeah, because it's hard to like not compare yourself to what
Yeah.
you were. But then like you think about like how awesome things are now.
Yeah.
And I think it's very hard to forget, very easy to forget that
Hmm.
that you know, your greatest moments are here
Hopefully.
and now.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree too. And, once you learn to accept the reality of things, I think things get a lot better.
Yeah. It takes a while, and it's very hard, and it sweat and tears.
Yes. I think confidence is a big thing too. Like, if
It's a
you,
skill.
yeah. Well, and like if you're confident in yourself, you are more attractive to other people. Like, obviously, that's not the goal here, but like, if you love yourself openly and you are confident in yourself and don't give a shit about what other people think, other people are going to love that about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, like she's so free-willed and
Mm-hmm.
so chill and just so okay with it. Like
Mm-hmm. Although I will say there's a fine line where like
you're just sort of faking it just to fake it.
not that necessarily, but if someone's like, "Wow, you look really confident wearing that."
Oh, yes. You're
Like
like,
you
come
don't have to
on.
say that.
You could have just stopped it at
Yeah, you first of all, you don't have to say anything. You look beautiful. You know what I mean?
simple.
Right. Or like I could never wear that. I could never see myself being that confident in that body. Like,
That's just mean.
yeah, like
Like
watch what you
you are
say.
being mean for a purpose there.
Mhm.
I hate people sometimes.
I hate most people.
Yeah. I don't hate you.
No? That's kind of reassuring, I guess. Although you don't really like tell me often.
I love you, Deanna.
Oh, love you too, Woza. um, overall, though, I think,
I think a lot of people went through something similar,
yeah.
especially as the pandemic came through.
Oh,
The
yeah.
gyms are closed. People don't want to go outside. People would order in because they don't want to
DoorDash.
cook,
Ugh,
you know?
DoorDash. Yeah. I think more people should talk about it, and as easy as it is to say, love yourself.
It's very hard to love
Yeah,
yourself,
it
especially when
really
you have
is.
everything going against you, or as it might seem like everything's going against
Hmm.
you.
Yeah, it's really hard to love yourself when you feel like nobody else around you loves
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I feel like my weight gain journey was so dramatic though.
Yeah.
It was very hard to like accept it. It was
Hmm.
very hard to like just cope with the fact that I had gained 20 pounds in such a short amount of time.
Right.
And for someone like me who's 5 feet tall, that 20 pounds shows.
Shows. Yeah. Well, you got to think too, like moms,
What
you
about
know,
moms?
like their body after they have children.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like how brutal they can be. That's
Oh,
a story
well,
for another time.
that's something else. That's
Okay.
childhood trauma that we'll talk
Yes.
about later.
I was like, is this where we're going?
No,
Okay.
no. I'm talking about like, women once they have kids, their body changes dramatically.
Yeah.
And like I know neither one of us have experienced that, but I have friends that have.
I see my own mom. I
Mhm.
have friends that are pregnant and then I've seen them after kids.
Mhm.
And, some of them by I don't know, by some miracle, they bounce right back.
Right. But
And you're like,
then
how?
right. But I think too a big thing about like women when they have kids is they see their husband, boyfriend, fiance,
Just the same.
their body's not changing.
Mm-mm.
You know, women are the ones that have to push a whole human being out of themselves, and then not only take care of their child, also figure out how to love themselves in the process because
Their body's just
changed
so.
in 9 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's also not talked about enough, I think.
Because I think the expectation is that you're going to bounce back.
Right.
And you don't.
Because women's bodies are meant to have kids and they're supposed to, get back into it or blah, 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 whatever. But like,
Your boobs are saggy balloons.
and like, it's traumatic.
You've got loose skin on your abdomen.
Yeah.
You've got what is it? The dyes, that
No.
there are like a lot of pregnant women because their
Oh,
bellies
the
are stretched, the muscle
muscles.
separates,
I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're
and they have to
talking
get that
about.
surgically repaired, and they have to work
Right.
very hard. They get hernias from
Mhm.
pushing. They get torn to hell down there.
Right. Yeah, it's traumatic. Like,
And you're just
love
expected to
your
just
yeah.
bounce right back.
Ugh.
Like you have to heal and also fully take care of
A baby
a baby
that
that
doesn't know.
100% relies on you.
Yeah. How is that fair? I also think that whole thing is another conversation for another day.
Just
But overall, love yourself. Love the people around you because you don't know what they're going through.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know if they are struggling with their weight and or anything mentally for that matter. You know what I mean? Um, love yourself, love the people around you, and that's that.
Yeah. I think we just need to stop commenting on body parts.
Yeah, just
Like,
stop talking
I
about
have
it.
a lot of fat on my face. I always have and I always will. Even when I was like a little twig, I still had a fat face, you know?
Hmm.
And it's whatever, it's my face.
Yeah.
But I used to hate it when people would comment on how chubby
Hmm.
my face was or how round my face was, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, you might think that you're doing something harmless,
Yeah.
but I mean, it has a lasting impact on people.
Hmm. I agree, and people just need to keep comments to themselves,
Yeah.
unless it's like literally hurting somebody else. You know what I mean? Like they are so obese that it's affecting their health. Then,
Then you're
okay.
obese.
Right. But, like little things like that, I think people don't realize, like you said, the impact it has on that
Yeah.
person.
Because you might think that it's just a little harmless comment that you
Hmm.
make, but that is something that probably that person might dwell on a lot.
Forever.
It might be an insecurity, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
So, I don't know. I wish there was more kindness,
Peace, love, and happiness.
peace, tender love and care. Some TLC.
TLC.
But I guess that's just too much to ask for,
It is.
you know? And I feel like some people just feel so um needing to say everything that's on their mind, every thought that they have.
Hmm.
When some comments
Don't
just
need to be
don't,
had.
you know?
If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And that's that.
I think that wraps up today's shorter episode
Hmm.
on body positivity. I think it's been a prominent topic
Hmm.
that has weighed heavily with at least us,
Yes.
especially in recent years.
Hmm.
I think we've both been there for each other as our bodies have changed.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked a little bit about second puberty, which what the fuck? Like,
Why?
why
Why
is
didn't
that
nobody tell
necessary?
us? Why didn't nobody
Like,
tell
was
us
one
about
not
that?
enough?
Obviously not. I hope there's not a third. Well, I guess there is because
Yeah,
menopause.
menopause.
I don't even want to talk about that.
Do you have any thoughts on?
No, I mean, I think I pretty much said everything. I think today's episode was kind of open ended.
Yeah,
We kind of just let it flow on our thoughts and everything. We just kind of had the topic of body positivity
you
and
just went
then
with it.
just went with it, because I mean, obviously we have a lot to say about those things,
Hmm.
um,
And I think a lot of men and women alike just have a very similar sentiment
mhm,
towards the changes as
that
we get a little
happened.
older.
Hmm.
Um, and honestly, for those of you who don't go through that, like, what's that like? Being
I
able to
don't
fit
know.
into your high school prom dress?
Oh my gosh, I could never. I could not. I'd be a roll of biscuits.
Yeah, I I don't know. I actually never went to prom, but that's
Oh, that'll be another
a
conversation.
very short conversation. I don't think anyone liked me enough to go to prom with me.
I would take you to prom.
I was a very like shy and like quiet girl.
Really shocking.
Yeah,
Never
surprise.
could have guessed that one.
And I just like didn't care. I went to like homecomings and stuff, but like
We didn't have homecomings. All we had was prom
yeah, we had like
at my school.
homecomings. We had like little random dances in between. We had prom. My homecoming never had a date. Prom didn't go. It's okay. I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything.
You didn't because my
Everyone has like a
oh
terrible
my gosh,
prom
yes,
story.
my first prom, I went with a guy. He was my boyfriend at the time. First off, I drove to prom. Okay, not
Oh no.
not because he couldn't. Okay, and then we had they had like a midnight bowling after the prom or whatever, so we went bowling, and then not even like an hour after taking him home and then me going home, he broke up with me through text message. Yeah, that was my junior prom.
Oh my God.
Also, he was high the whole time. That's why I drove, because he was rolling a blunt right next to me in my, not my car.
You know, I don't think you and I would have been friends in high school.
Probably not. Probably not. And then my senior prom, I was supposed to go with my high school sweetheart, and we broke up like 2 weeks before the prom.
Apparently, prom just means breakup.
It does. Screw prom. I had a great time though with my friends. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I always went with like my friends, and it was
Mhm.
always a good time. But like my prom, I never went to any of my proms in high school. I
we
always
can
worked.
have a little prom together.
It's okay. I'm really okay with not doing that.
Fine,
Don't think that I feel like I'm missing out. I promise you.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Well, now that we went on that tangent about prom.
I think that will wrap up today's episode. Let us know how you guys feel about body positivity, and
If you can like relate to any of the sentiment
Mhm.
of, going through the changes in your 20s or and beyond, or
Mhm.
any changes honestly at that point.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people will find
Comfort.
comfort in knowing that they're not the only one.
Yes. Yes, I
And
definitely.
I think that's a huge thing on our podcast is
Yeah.
we go through shit in life, and a lot of it goes unspoken,
Mhm.
and it's very easy to feel alone in certain situations in life. And I think the whole point of this podcast is that
You're
you're
not
not.
alone. Yeah, especially, I mean, I know that we're just two people in this very, very large world.
Yeah.
And we obviously don't have the same experiences as everyone else, but I know that the experiences that we have, we are not the only people that have gone through these things. There are other people out there that aren't as open, in talking about these things. And they do feel like they're the only person in the entire world that has gone through what they have gone through.
It feels that way.
It does sometimes, especially if you don't have that support system.
Mm.
Um, but we are here to tell you that we are here, and even if you have had a different experience than us, you can talk about it. You can come to us, um, reach out to us on TikTok, Instagram. What's the other one? Facebook, you know.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
I don't think you can make a YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, you can't make comments or anything on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, stuff like that. But regardless of how you find us and where you listen, we are here for you. Even if you don't want to talk to us, just listen to us, that is totally fine too. But just know that this is a safe place for everybody. And we love you guys.
So much love.
Aww. But please like, comment, share, subscribe.
Share the love.
And we shall see you next time on The Last Brain Cell.
Hope you had a good time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.